Libero at that point, only 4 players get topped up by that Lucio, and it's not going to be enough to keep NYXL in the fight.
And I'm quite surprised that NYXL decided to invest the sound barrier there towards the end. They're already down like 2 or 3 players. They end up using that sound barrier. You hold it for this next fight, you would have had sound barrier and rally coming back in versus just Transcendence on the other side. Would have been a pretty, a fight you would favor NYXL, especially considering it may be the last one.
Over the top will NYXL come. Again, tough to really find a pick for them here. They don't have any huge ultimates. They need to ride the wave of the rally into this fight and hope to get through. The Valiant, though, Transcendence, Shadow's on the way. Graviton isn't far off for Kareev, especially if he gets charged. Now the NYXL have to go in because they've lost control. That's the rally. Fate gets Earthshattered. Huge one. Custom knocked to the ground. I think it was a full team Earthshattered there. The Valiant somehow still managed to survive through it, and they're going to push on. I cannot believe they get back on their feet after that one. Izayaki saved them big time. And the Valiant wash over this fight. It's all green in the kill feed. And 1-0 on the map. Unbelievable stuff. Big shatter. Still doesn't get the job done for NYXL. Hoo-wee! We've got another round of this one at least to come. We'll see you guys after the break. Quite the climax to shrine there, Matt, especially the Valiant managing to walk away from that fight, which looked like it started so well for New York.
Yeah, it was a huge shatter there from Mono, and then I know I caught it on the screen. They're getting stuck in the Graviton Surge. The players from NYXL try and walk their way towards the point, and Fate actually turns and counter shatters out of that grab. As you see both teams coming out here, mirror matchup, as they're both going to try and pressure for the high ground.
Agility's always takes a lot of damage early. Mono catches him with the hammer, and that was short-lived indeed. Early picks for the NYXL as they really push forward with that Lucio speed boost.
It's like almost the exact same start as we had at the last point. It's like at the beginning, the LA Valiant just take way too much damage. NYXL, they react, seeing that their health bars are low, they push right on through. Not scared at all. As Mono in this game so far, Mitch, he's getting a shatter every 54 seconds, which is quite unreal. But then on the other side, Izayaki's getting Transcendence in under a minute. Too. I mean, these players just building their ultimates so fast.
The Transcendence from Izayaki, a big factor saving the Valiant in that previous map. Look at this again, so much damage. Watch those health bars go down. Mane might have got caught a little bit too far forward. Meko tried to bail him out of jail there by booping the Valiant back. Just a little bit too late here. Mano had Earthshatter, of course, as he's building it so darn quickly. But now the Valiant have a player advantage heading into this fight. Nene, he had the shield, but he'd taken a lot of damage already. Again, Agilities goes down early for the Valiant, but they're still held on, and now they can stagger this fight out a little bit to see that, yeah, we'll keep Meko alive.
The Valiant have to be careful, though. I mean, you can't have Agilities go down to like half health at the beginning of every fight, because, Brig, obviously, the ultimate is so important, Rally providing the armor, everybody, but also it's just that burst heal onto your Reinhardt. Like, if your Brig is low and has to back up, and you start putting pressure on the Rein and the Discord comes down, you're almost going to get a 2-for-1 in that scenario. You're going to get both of them.
And that's the only burst heal you have outside of Transcendence, right? Is that repair pack from your Brigitte.
You don't want to burn Transcendence on something like that.
Absolutely not. Graviton for Kareev. He's thinking about it. He'll know that Meko will be looking for the eat, though. Here's the push. Earthshatter Mane gets it off, but he gets taken down immediately. I think it was just Space that was actually impacted by that one. Not a lot to write home about if you're an NYXL fan. And the Valiant again, star cold.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the Reinhardt right after the shatter, the Discord, and then you're just able to... Mono is quite low when he goes for the shatter. And now you come back if you're NYXL. The Valiant just building up percentage. This has really been one-sided towards the Valiant. I mean, you see NYXL with 34%, but they only got it because they won that first fight.
Honestly, that seemed uncharacteristic from Mono to shatter when he was so low and from so far away. Fate needs to be careful. Discord orb was briefly applied. He lost half himself. That's the big shatter, though! It's going to be Transcendence brought into the fight by Jonak, but then the follow-up is there. The Graviton Surge, self-destruct, you name it, LA have got it. And Nene went down to Space's bomb. Animo can't get away. Chased down by Agilities. Great setup from Fate.
And this is, we're in last fight territory here. Is the NYXL, they'll have a sound barrier coming into the next fight. You're probably going to get a shatter. You think Mono lives long enough, puts down enough damage to get a shatter, and then Libero will have the rally. You have Rally and Transcendence here for the Valiant, and I think, you know, with the way these fights go, Fate 67% towards the shatter, he's going to get one. So you see it's going to be a quick engage here for NYXL. They're going to use Sound Barrier just to get the point.
Both Ryans had that shatter here. The Valiant play safe. They allow the NYXL to take control of the point, but the fight, oh, it's far from done. Mano here just trying to give his team at least half of the point to stand in Fate. Oh, big chunk down. He gets Zaya bubbled rather hastily, but he can't really come forward. That's another big shatter. Mano blocks that one this time, and Libero goes down, charging the wall from Mano. He's discorded, but also Harmony by his own team. Fate hits him with the Fire Strike. Meko trying to commit to this point, but he has a Discord Orb. Izayaki just sits back, lazily tosses orbs in his general direction. It was just Fate to go down, but a late grab is going to secure this one for the Valley. They have the numbers, and they have the room to breathe. Full hold here for the Valiant as they capture things out. NYXL being sent packing in map 1.
I really love how the Valiant played that towards the end. They saw the sound barrier in rally invested by NYXL. They backed out, came back in with their own support ultimates to take the point.
And there you have it. Map 1 in the books here. A repeat perhaps of last season's stage, finals in stage 4. The Valiant were on top. We'll see some more for these guys after the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Thanks for joining us again, ladies and gentlemen. The Valiant and the NYXL both opting to play that Reinhardt-centric, you know, triple tank, triple support composition. Seemed to work quite well for the Valiant in the end. I think Fate's happy to get to play that instead of maybe the Winston that we saw him play so much of prior. Yeah. But again, the Zen battles, they were very real.
Yeah, we touched on it, you know, coming into this series. You know, Izayaki versus Jonak. In the first map, Izayaki was sick, man. He was just laying down so much damage, and you see the damage a little bit favoring over towards Jonak, but Izayaki, he like doesn't die barely at all here on map number 1. Only 2 deaths. You see the damage amplified a little bit higher there, landing down those discords quite often.
What is your take on this huge disparity in healing done from Jonak? He has a considerable lead there.
I mean, you see the Transcendence healing. You know, it kind of favors Jonak a little bit. And also
25% per Transcendence.
Yeah, I mean, it was something NYXL did last year where they just kind of leave the healing orb on one guy. You know, last year it was like Saviel B got the Orb of Harmony quite often, and then you know, you can build up a lot of healing, you just leave it on some of the tanks. So I think it's just kind of orb placement and how your team decides to use Orb. Do you want to move it around quite often, or do you want to just leave it on one target and then leave the main support to heal some of the others?
One thing that we're kind of stuck on talking about in that last map was like watching the health bars before the fight starts. You know, are both teams committing to an engagement where they're fully topped up? And you saw multiple times, especially the Valiant had to go into these fights, you know, with some of their players at 50% or lower health. And, you know, guys like Jonak are out there just doing a lot of damage with the burst, obviously with the volley of orbs, and also the charged up Zayas. You know, one right click can really chunk down your health bar if you have a lot of that charge. So, you know, that is definitely something to keep an eye on, is that, yes, these compositions, not specifically great at long range. I mean, we don't have, like, Widowmakers and there's no sniper characters there, but there's a lot of work being done pre-fight to set these up.
Yeah, I think, though, like, if your Zarya's charged, you can start to play around your Zen a little bit more as they chunk them down. Kusta will go out. Kuki will come in. So we saw Kuki quite a lot last week, you know, in the main support role. It's actually a main tank last year, and then KSF will come in for Kareev, which is quite interesting. As you know, Kareev was this flex support player who also played DPS, who this season it seemed like he's going to be playing DPS all the time. It seems like, you know, at least speaking from him, you get the vibes like he would have liked to be a flex support. But, you know, KSF was a signing they had last year, about halfway through the year, where they retooled the Valiant. So we'll get to see, you know, how they try and incorporate him this season.
It seemed like a player they were looking to develop and build up. Izayaki maybe in the same vein was, you know, a new or a younger prospect that they wanted to give some game time, some practice. But now KSF, this isn't his first time on stage this season.
I think he probably had a, you know, a bigger role in mind for Izayaki, though. Like, I think KSF you probably picked up and you thought it was a project, you know, maybe for the long term, you'd get some game time. I don't know if you really game plan for him to be part of, like, the everyday rotation of players. But I think with the Valiant DPS, I think you're just trying to figure out, you know, who works in certain situations with certain other players on different maps, and we'll see how he plays here on Hollywood.
Absolutely. What's the ideal permutation? We talked about Kuki coming in here, and, you know, our assessment, I think, from last week and his, you know, his first stint was that it was good. It wasn't bad. Like, you cannot look at his stats and go, this wasn't good. Which is a good sign for with the Valiant, which means they can throw a couple different looks. If that changes their communication structure for the better, then it makes perfect sense.
And we've seen some players in the Overwatch League go from, like, you know, DPS to main tank, flex support to main tank, like, and really it just hasn't worked for anyone.
Yes.
Where I feel like, you know, at least with Kuki, you know, in a first showing, you know, minimal amount of time, it was one of the better positional changes we've seen. So we'll see how it works out in the long term. You know, Kuki, very smart player. You know, a lot of teams, you know, when Seoul Dynasty's kind of like breaking up at the end of last year, and, you know, they kind of thought like maybe he'd be a free agent. A lot of teams were interested in him, and, you know, maybe they saw something where they keep him at main tank. Maybe it was something like the Valiant thought they could use him in multiple roles or different roles. So it's cool to see some players, you know, getting a look on other roles a little bit outside of the box.
You're gonna have the Los Angeles Valiant on the attack to begin Hollywood, and there's probably nothing that really should surprise you about either of these two team compositions. Both these teams are measured, methodical, patient, and they're going to go with the most robust approach possible. And it will be Reinhardt-based triple tank, triple support. So, you know, Wits is here, all Kuki. See, that's that burst damage at the start of these fights that can really hamstring a team before they even get within striking distance.
And it's hard. I mean, you can't go in with your Lucio low. That's going to be a perfect opportunity. NYXL, they would just speed boost Bubble Mono and just send him in as like an assassin and just go swing through the Lucio in the back. That's what the Valiant are trying to do. They don't really want to just go in through the choke here. You're going to get hit by like a major fire strike. So
they're trying to force a rotation, but look how quickly the NYXL dropped down when they saw the Valiant switching around the point. And then when the Valiant back up, they go back up to the high ground themselves.
Like they know NYXL is a staircase there too, right? Like it's not like they have to go all the way around. So now the Valiant still trying to rotate around. Nene with trying to boost here to the top of the cafe. 0 for 2.
Fight again, taking a huge amount of damage. Discord Orb goes a long way. Nene finishes off the kill. The Valiant are down to 5 players now, and they realize they really haven't gotten the start that they were looking for. Nene continuing just to zap them down with a solid 90 charge, and Agilities is just going to get staggered here a little bit.
I feel like every time we're on with Nene, he's full charge.
Yep.
The guy always sitting at like above 80% charge, but I think I want to talk a little bit about the compositions here, at least, Mitch. You know, on offense, you know, you kind of look, you either go like something that's DPS heavy, Space just switches over to get a mech back. They go with the Reinhardt base comp here, so the Reinhardt 3-3. I think on defense, you could play the Winston base 3-3 composition. That kind of deters the other team from going over to DPS heavy compositions. But on a map like this where you expect Reinhardt on offense, I think you can safely come out here with the Reinhardt D.
Yeah, I also think that both teams are probably just fairly comfortable playing that way. No Fate likes a bit of Ryan. So again, the Valiant, it's a similar approach. They try and move around the point, flank it out. Transcendence had to come out from Jonak there. We saw that a couple of his frontliners were a little bit low on health. That self-destruct's gonna be nasty.
Oh!
It is! Meko gets himself a quick 3 and a mech to boot. And the Valiant are nothing but dust, ashes, and sadness.
It's like, you know, I feel like, remember back when like you would just like nano boost like a Genji and like they just dash through everybody and you saw it coming, but it's still crazy to watch.
Yeah.
Like seeing the self-destruct just go up in the sky and the Reinhardt just get like pinned or knocked out of the way and seeing players there, you know the result. It's just, it's so satisfying.
Oh, look at this. Hold that thought. NYXL really want to start the fight. They jump on Izayaki early, but it was actually Mano going down first. The NYXL might actually get punished here for their aggression. As KSF has the Graviton locked and loaded, he knows there's a Diva above and behind him, so he needs to be careful about how he lets this one go. But that's an Earth Shatter for 3! The KSF's going to follow it up now. Soundbarrier might be a little bit sad, a little bit late in the day for that one. And the rest of the Valiant can push on in. And they will have themselves point A now. It's a matter of cleaning Meko off. A lot of work required, but in the end, it was NYXL that gave them this opening.
Yeah, they dropped down. I think they tried to catch the Valiant off guard as Valiant was coming in, and they decided to use their rally. Maybe they thought they could jump down, catch them off guard, not allow them to build up some of that armor. The Valiant will take the point, unlock the payload as we move into the second stage of the map. The Valiant now with their own, you know, Grav self-destruct combo to use here. A lot of different areas where you can hide for NYXL here on defense. You can get into some of the buildings.
You can see that New York, they're aware of their lack of support ultimates right now. They're playing back. They're not trying to push up into the choke and get an aggressive fight start with a Transcendence or a Sound Barrier. They do have the former now. Jonak ready to ult when required. KSF, oh, what is he trying to do? He's walking up like that to try and bait something, a move away from the NYXL. He doesn't use the Graviton, and he forces NYXL back.
He's buying the Valiant a ton of space just by moving up like that. They have to back out. Oh, it doesn't even matter. Meko's so good.
I can't believe it. Here's the Transcendence now coming out from New York. They realize there's an opening in this fight, a chance to take advantage. Graviton surge, and a self-destruct will go up here. That's the charge they're looking for. Kukin the only one to go down. The Sound Barrier and breaking line of sight, helping the Valiant stay vital. But eventually they will be cut down. Not all of them are going to be able to get away. They're going to feed over some of that extra ult percent. And the Valiant think back. They're going to file that KSF play under things you hate to see.
Oh, and the Graviton Surge, such an important ultimate in this meta, and I know to have one eaten. And he was doing a fantastic job, KSF, of just trying to like bait Meko to use all of his defense
Just
matrix.
the threat of the ultimate was enough to force New York back, because they said, well, we have a 2-second cooldown on our defense matrix. We can't use it up right now, so we just need to sort of jockey back. He was getting results for the Valiant purely by being there, by menacing.
The reaction time from Meko is sick, by the way, to fly in and be able to get that before it connects to any object and just... Because they were just going to...
Oh, that's a pick!
Okay.
It's Jonak as well! Nobody picks the God King and gets away with it, but he gets another one! Izayaki finds his second! He wants a little bit more. The self-destruct here from New York at the turret to try and push the Valiant back, but they're having none of it! Meko just punched into next Tuesday. And that's what a Zenyatta finding those first kills can do for you. Against this kind of competition, that is not an easy feat.
It's like, with all the shielding and healing, it's like, how do you find those picks there? And you know, Jonak is playing, you know, a little bit close to, you know, the front, where, you know, he's right around Mono. He was up by the cart there. He gets picked off, but man, Izayaki gives him 2 free kills.
The Valiant trying to take space away from the NYXL, not let them stretch their legs much. Nene was caught by Izayaki yet again, despite the Transcendence being a factor. Earthshatter, that's a huge one. 5 people knocked down to the side of the Valiant, and now Animo can follow Mano's charge in. As Izayaki will be taken down, and the NYXL at least get to play outside of the Gulcher Studios and get a bit of room. Fight's not done, they will chase these kills down, and the Valiant need to be turning tail now.
I think, though, if you're the Valiant, you have to have a, you know, an idea of the ultimate economy. So KSF needs to drop. Drops a little late.
He's trying to charge his grab there, I think, at the end of the fight.
You'll be able to get back here. Now, Space may be the one that needs to get a touch, and he's quite low, but no, he's got a self-destruct to, you know, buy him a new mech, get back on the point. But they have the advantage in terms of support ults here, Mitch, if they can get on the point and get a fight.
New York doing exactly what they need to do, standing on the objective when playing the point. Fake takes a huge amount of damage as he approaches the payload, but the Transcendence smooths that one over nicely. They can't be forced off now. Both teams looking for an opening. It's going to be a self-destruct to start things off. Agilities has to back away, and Kuki was caught out by that one. The Valiant can't afford that kind of kill at this stage, and now faded KSF knocked to the ground. Mano lines up a charge and knocks his opposite number into next week. It'll be space to get desuited here. And the NYXL had the start to the fight. They had the numbers, they had the finish. And now it's just space trying to stall things out. He gets his mech back, interestingly. But it'll take a little bit of attention away from Izayaki, but just for a moment. And that will be where the payload stops for the Valiant. A little bit shorter than they otherwise would have liked. They get through most of the Wild West phase. Then a little bit of a bot start to the fight hurts them. Just what gave them the advantage was that first pick on Jonak. Then they give one over in the form of Kuki and lose the fight. Next half of Hollywood, right around the corner. Well, the Los Angeles Valiant looking a little flummoxed at the end of that previous round. This is about as far as they got, which is, it's not terrible, Matt, but they really would have liked that extra checkpoint.
Yeah, and I think it really starts to fall apart where Kuki dies to this self-destruct. So let's get a look from his POV on how it got done.
It's a little gap. It's rough. Now, you can break line of sight normally happily enough, but perhaps it's just out there. No, now, like I say this a lot.
It's a game of inches.
Yeah, I overuse this phrase all the time, but I actually do hate to see that because, you know, he was cognizant of where the self-destruct would be. He just kind of got wrecked. So the Valiant now need to double down on their defensive efforts here. We're going to have a Winston 3-3 setup here on defense.
And this is to prevent any type of, you know, quad DPS, triple DPS on the other side. Libero probably just, you know, seeing what's out there on the Widowmaker, he'll go back and swap. I think you make that swap as soon as you see that they're running 3 tanks, 3 supports with the Winston.
Doesn't this Winston, though, have a disadvantage against the Reinhardt in the head-to-head?
So you can get punished pretty quickly, though, if your Winston's out of position. I think we've seen Philadelphia probably do it the best thus far. So you see Space, he gets demech, but that's because he's trying to protect Fate. Fate at like half HP that entire first fight.
Whatever the reason was, Matt, the Valiant are down a player. And that could hurt them now. They need to double down and try and find some more picks, but instead they just hand him over on a silver platter. It feels so risky to come in with that Winston-based 3-3. And the NYXL definitely able to exploit the holes in the Valiant's approach.
It is definitely much riskier than the Reinhardt comp. They're just trying to prevent any type of DPS on the other side. But you can't have Fate go that low early because then that forces Space to overextend probably a little bit more than he would have liked. Then he ends up getting demacked, and then it's you know, they just kind of run on through them at that point. It's like now if you're the Valiant, you know you're working on nothing in terms of ult charge with Fate here on the Reinhardt. You probably want to take a fight close, get them to invest some ultimates to get the payload moving through the second part of the map, and then come back with a nice ultimate advantage. You're really just trying to swing the ultimates in your favor.
Mecha gets on the high ground though. Again, defense matrix out just to make sure he eats anything that might go past. It was Kuki to find the first pick. So Libero being down, the NYXL don't really want to take this one. Again, there's a bit of risk associated with them walking forward and trying to start a fight without Libero's rally to buffer them and keep them nice and topped up. But now they're back with 6 and it's go time. They have 6 ultimates to spend, Matt.
Yeah, that was almost best case scenario for the Valiant. You're going to be enough time to build up all 3 support ults and Graviton Surge. Your Space, though, getting so low. So much damage coming out from Nene. There's the grab.
Yeah, he may have doubted how charged up Nene was, and that's going to be the Earth Shadow to follow up. Oh, no! Yep. Yeah, everyone's going to die to that. Pretty much the way it happens. Again, they were knocked down. They were booped away. Yeah. There was no protection for the Valiant. And in all fairness, the NYXL invest quite a few of those shock and awe team fight winning ultimates very early on in this Wild West phase.
I mean, you do have a self-destruct and a shatter combination here for the Valiant. Like if you can get that self-destruct in the sky, you know, force Mono to kind of look up with the shield and then land like a big shatter, maybe you connect with a few.
And then pressuring Space constantly, not letting him come forward with more than half health.
Defense matrix is huge, right, to keep the Reinhardt alive.
Okay, Neko goes in, sets up on the high ground once more. Sound barrier from the Valiant here, and NYXL very deftly disengaged. Yeah. The Valiant look a little put out. They would have actually liked to have fought there at the height of their power, but now the NYXL can come forward. They have a sound barrier. They have a Graviton Surge. The Valiant are missing Fate and KSF, and it's all gone wrong for Los Angeles. Now Libero and Koku just push forward a little bit further, and a Transcendence desperately committed to the point. Animo getting a double melee kill. You see some crazy things at the end of some of these fights, and this would be quite a short affair, wrapped up pretty quickly by the NYXL to even the series. Oh man, that was fast.
Yeah, NYXL really dominated the Valiant there on map number 2. It was all Valiant map number 1, but NYXL, they fought back. Animo out of death there on the Lucio in that main support role, staying alive. We're all tied up, going into the half. We'll see you right after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
It's a tie game between the NYXL and the LA Valiant. As here we go, knotted up, 1-1. And take a look at this, one of many Meko bombs that have gone down in the first half. Welcome back, everybody. Malik here with Zoe and Bryn. Since we are playing a 3-3 composition, a lot of good play from both tank and support positions. Let's start with the tank play, though. A lot of stuff standing out for you guys, right?
Yeah, Fate has really honestly been impressing me, actually, in general. This guy has been popping off in the first map in particular. He's been getting insane efficiency of his Earth Shatters in particular, which you don't normally see, right? When you play the triple tank, triple support comps, the trouble is with that is you get an Earth Shatter off. Normally, if you get one kill with that, that's actually good value. This is the one thing that people need to learn, actually, when watching this style of Overwatch now, is that these teams are so good that it's hard to actually get any sort of kills when you get an Earth Shatter down, because the supports are usually there with their ultimates. So the fact that he's even managing to get 1 or 2 kills with these Earth Shatters, very impressive from me.
Right, even the fact that he's able to ground so many people to me is flabbergasting. I remember I was making a comment in the back, like he was teammates with a lot of these guys during World Cup, so I wonder if he got the download with just playing with those guys. But let's talk a little bit more about the support play. More namely, the key matchup between Izayaki and Jonak, which has been a lot of fun to watch so far.
It has, and it was actually really surprising. I mean, we're always hype him up, right? Jonak, the man, he's the best
MVP.
in the league, the MVP.
Right.
But Izayaki went toe-to-toe. And the reason why this is so impressive is that the whole team of New York is actually playing around Jonak. They give him the space, they support him so much and enable him to put out those big numbers. Izayaki doesn't have that support. He is not having his team playing around him, and yet he managed, when we're looking at the stats, to actually go toe-to-toe and even outplay Jonak in a few of those
Could this be a passing of the guard?
Honestly, it's actually kind of crazy that you even say that, right? Because I was reflecting on this, on the Izayaki-Jonak matchup that we're hyping up here. It is insane the amount of flex support players that we've got that are of this high of a caliber now in the Overwatch League. But look at these statistics here. Yes, Jonak is leading in a lot of these categories, but as Zoe mentioned earlier, he is getting the complete support of his team, whereas Izayaki is being left on his lonesome. So this is what makes it so much more impressive, is the fact that he is actually, again, holding his own against this dominant player, Jonak. He was the MVP last year. Very impressive. I think he's a star player for Valiant and 100% one that you can build around.
Right, so, the NYXL in that last map, they looked like they pretty much outclassed the LA Valiant altogether. So How do the LA Valiant respond here in the second half and, possibly come out with the victory?
I think it comes down to cleaning up their triple tank, triple support play. And I know that's a very generic answer, but honestly,
Yes.
from what I've seen from that second map, that's what New York Excelsior did. They cleaned up their play from that first map. They're playing a lot more surgical. They're not wasting ultimates like they did in the first map when it came to that Nepal section. So realistically now, Valiant need to step up their game overall. I can't pin it down to one person because it's disingenuous to pin it down onto one person on Valiant to be the problem in this regard. It's the whole team that needs to really step it up.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to really know what to focus on. Jonak is basically untouchable for most of the times when he's playing against New York. Meko had a lot of space to make things work, and just the general teamwork of New York was pretty spot on. So they need to kind of figure out a way of splitting them up more and getting those crucial pickups early on.
All right, well, the LA Valiant going for their first win. Will they be able to pull it off? We'll find out in just a bit. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
It's an oldie, but it's a goodie, ladies and gentlemen. The NYXL take on the Los Angeles Valiant. Halftime just now gone, and we saw 1-1 over that first half here. Look, I'll be honest with you, night and day between these two teams. Map 1, the control looked very good for the Valiant. They seemed like they had a good command of playing that Reinhardt-centric 3-3 comp. But then we went over towards Hollywood, and did not look so good for the Valiant.
I mean, NYXL just kind of crushed through on Hollywood. We have some subs coming in here. So Kareev will come back in to the lineup here for the Valiant as KSF will go out. So KSF comes in for the one map. The one map, pretty quick, goes right back out. Kareev comes right back into the lineup.
What do you think about KSF? What's your report card grade for him on that previous map? All things considered, of course.
It wasn't great. Obviously going up against NYXL is tough. We talk about how important Zarya is in this meta, and Nene was just unreal on that map. I believe KSF only finishes with 7 elims total, which, as Zarya, you're putting down so much damage on everybody, right? You're just lobbing in, those alternate fires, putting down tons of damage on everybody. I think you should be able to come up with a little bit more than 7. Come on.
Well, again, tough cookies in general for the Valiant there. Remember, they didn't have to play that Winston-based composition on defense, or at least they thought that they would get punished if they did not do so. The NYXL have already demonstrated they want to play DPS heavy, but here we go.
Yeah, so New York on defense here, they come out with the Winston version of the 3-3. This is the map, one of the maps that you'll see a lot of teams come out with Winston on defense, because the offensive side here on Volskaya has a ton of verticality, a lot of use for Pharah and double sniper comps, and some weird triple or quad DPS.
I wonder how well these teams know each other, because neither of them have actually gone and played like a DPS heavy composition on the attacking side. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Actually, I do believe that we're relatively frequent scrim partners. I'll have to double check that. Kareem, oh, he takes a lot of damage just to try and get up into that building in the middle. But the Valiant at least have created that kind of space. Now, notice Mano and Meko always together. Meko taking a little too much damage there, but he's not punished for it. And now the Valiant push up. Mano is looking for a way to get into the backline here. He sees Izzyaki slightly split, but the Valiant are constantly watching Mano to make sure they can jump on him. Jonak just gets completely blown up by Fate there, charged into a wall of all places, and Mano's looking worse for wear. This doesn't look great so far for New York.
Yeah, they're just going to jump up. They're going to give this up completely. So right off the bat, NYXL, once Jonak drops, you want to gauge how important he is. Once he falls, they decided to just give up the point. Mano switches over to Reinhardt now. You have a 50% ult charge advantage here to Fate.
I mean, you want to talk about playmaking potential, Matt? Talk about a Reinhardt pinning a Zenyatta to start a fight. That's just mental. Kariva close to that Graviton surge, though, and Fate, yes. Having a look around that right-hand side to see if there's any extra players lying in wait for New York, and there are. Oh, there are. Transcendence, though. Here comes the start of the fight here. Everyone pushing forward on the side of the Valiant. Kareem, let's go with that Graviton surge, and New York look very quiet. They look very average right now. Sound barrier here just to keep the fight going. The party don't stop for the Valiant. Self-destruct, Mano shields up, and he's forced away from the point. All this time, the Valiant are just taking further control here. Meko's mech removed from the fight. You can see that Discord orb there being placed on the back line of the NYXL, while up towards the side. Mano is trying to make the difference here. That's the running from Libero. Is it going to be enough healing? Probably not, but a sound barrier definitely helps. They get agilities, and Jonak finds the pick, as he always tends to do, on towards Fate. Now the Valiant are down to 3 players. Kareem removed surgically from that setup. And the NYXL can breathe a sigh of relief, but Matt, that was close.
Yeah, it is 2 ticks over to the Valiant, though. So you see, they keep the progress up until the second tick at the top of your screen. The arrow is the 84%. But man, I bet that is a fight where they probably would have liked to close out the first half, their offensive attack there. I mean, they had a big ultimate advantage coming in with Mano switching over to Reinhardt there. So now Mano's got a Shatter to line up here. Jonak with a Transcendent. You could get aggressive here, just kind of like we saw the Valiant do. They knew they didn't have support ult, so they got it aggressive early. As Fate just steps on the point here. Kareem trying to get up top.
Looks like the Valiant probably waiting again for that Transcendence from Izzyaki. Yeah. They have it now. So both teams have those ultimates to bring into this next fight. And Kareem looking for a good position to set that Graviton up from. Here it comes, though. Earth Shatter, Graviton Surge. Pretty risky, but it looks like it's worked out pretty well for the Valiant so far. Self-destruct. Oh no! They're so split! The Valiant, they were scattered to the 4 winds before they even got hit by that self-destruct, Matt. All over the place on that point.
Yeah, and I think, Fate maybe goes for a charge, thinks he's going to connect and be able to turn and put the shield up. Does not happen. Although the Valiant do lose that fight, and it's cool to see the self-destruct, but they do come into the next one, and they have the Shatter still. You're going to have Rally. And you take a look at the top of the screen for NYXL, you have no Transcendence there. You just have this grab. So if you can survive this grab, maybe even with the sound barrier that Cookie's building up, maybe the Valiant can make something out of this.
At least one support ult is what the Valiant are going to need. Oh, Cookie picked off! This time, the Valiant know better than to try and hang around any longer than they otherwise should. It's Fate pummeled as he tries to get out the door. And the NYXL will chase for a little bit more. We'll have Izzyaki to boot.
And you can live with some early deaths from your Lucio in like 1 or 2 fights, but the 2 really big deaths that Cookie's had at the beginning of these fights are fights where like he needs to stay alive. The one on Hollywood, and he had the sound barrier basically.
Or his ultimate is a core component of the strategy to win.
And then right here, you're going to have a barrier and Rally before they have 2 support ults coming in, and he falls. That gives Jonak and Animo time to work towards their ultimates. Which is really going to kind of put the fight on even kill as we come in.
Space probably just checking over the building to see who was sitting on the high ground. And Fate, I mean, he'd love a good Earth Shatter, but he needs the NYXL all to be on the same level. which means the Valiant need to force them to commit to the point in their entirety. Big hit from Fate there as he keeps that shield up. That shield's getting low, Matt. Down to half now. Discord all placed on Fate. He's got to chill for a moment. I mean, that grab's not going to give him too many options, I don't think. There it is. Then he gets knocked down by the Earth Shatter. No one from the Valiant has actually fell from the same move on the side of the NYXL. This is going to force New York to go for the rally to try and come forward, and Jonak needs to get the Transcendence in play. Even though it was a little bit later than the start of the fight, Fate had already gone down. So New York was still operating on all cylinders, and the Valiant, again, commit a lot of ultimates to the fight, come up with no more than that gained in the first engagement on this point.
And it's so tough for the Valiant to push into this, because NYXL, they're positioning their Zarya up on the high ground, and you're able to also get Jonak up on the high ground. So you land the Discord onto Fate, and I mean, he either jumps around the corner, and they just wait it out, or you have to use your Zarya bubble to break it. They get rid of the Discord. The issue is because you have that height advantage, you can lay the Discord down again, and you still are just pumping damage down into Fate, where there's nothing he can really do about it.
The further Fate comes forward, the better angle you can get over his shield to Discord him as well. Here's a self-destruct grab combo, but there's no one left for the aftermath. Just could go down. Space does a great job to open things up, though. Looking decent for the Valiant here. They're one player down, make it two, but Nene falls to Izzyaki. Gets a little bit too close to the Valiant players that were caught in that graviton, and now Jonak has to step onto the point. Remember, 2 ticks already for the Valiant, puts them in a great position just to stick around for long enough to end the round. Animo trying to fly over the top, Discord orb applied. Now Nene's gonna drop down, but Izzyaki has a Transcendence if the Valiant need to go for the nuclear option. The rally used to keep the Valiant nice and topped up, and that should serve them well. And they get onto that point. Had such a great start in the first fight, Matthew, then they were ground down, slowed up. But New York, another confident defense turns against them. The Valiant get the second point. Next half, right around the corner. NYXL try and end another Valiant push with a Graviton Bomb combo that just goes awry. Nene still, Matt, putting out huge amounts of damage in that half. 24% of his team's overall damage, just looking sick.
He's the one up on the high ground with Jonak, just putting down so much damage onto Fate. I know, I kind of said to you, it's like, it's such a tough position for Fate and the Valiant to play out of, because you burn the Zarya bubble to get rid of Discord. NYXL could jump down and just jump right on to Fate and push him.
They just wait until he's low enough as well.
And then if Fate goes in and kind of goes to the right corner underneath and puts the shield up and blocks some of that damage, oh, by the way, you have no shield for everybody else coming in. So then Jonak just throws his Discord orb onto space. They start to chunk him down. There's nothing they can do.
It's worth noting in those situations, sometimes if you're the Reinhardt and you get discorded at all, that's enough for you to back away. You know, you want to try and prevent the Zen from getting eyes on you, but when he has that high ground, it's easy to get locked on. Here's NYXL with that DPS composition finally now against the Valiant.
And it's interesting they go with the DPS even after they see them running the wins. Because we talk about, you know, I don't think it's like the answer, like the exact counter, but it is probably the best you can do here against the quad DPS is to run the Winston 3-3.
Yeah, it's probably a bit disingenuous to call it scissors, paper, rock.
Yeah.
Now, the Houston Outlaws tried something like this against the Boston Uprising, and they kept losing their Zenyatta in a lot of these fights, and that's all you have to do. Get aggressive on those less durable targets, and the NYXL might have to go back to the drawing board on this one.
And that's exactly why you need the Winston. The Winston can just pick a target, jump on them up on the high ground, with, like, let's say you want to throw your Diva up there as well, and you can just take out some of these low HP targets. You're only running one support here for NYXL. Mercy, obviously, with the res, you can bring them back to life, but they're already dead. Doesn't really do you any good, so.
Jonak will have to be very self-sufficient. Notice that space gets hacked there as Meko is definitely on the hunt, and Jonak will be tickling from the backside of the point. So the Valiant just need to, hold up in this heat, being pressured from multiple sides. Nene has open sight lines, but he has been spotted out by Izzyaki. 2 orbs to the face, clearly not enough to force Nene back, but losing Meko here again, another pause for thought for the NYXL. Libero stays in this fight. He's convinced he's going to be able to find something here.
The positioning here from the Valiant's been really good. nobody kind of clumping up, allowing the Pharah to just put down tons of damage. It'll be
That's the pick.
Yeah, Mono uses his minefield, so gonna clear this out. Fate gonna use the Primal Rage. Just a few ultimates invested here from the Valiant. I wonder if we see a change here from NYXL. VAL Player's just backing out to the spawn right away.
I bet you Jonak feels safer going up against the Zen as Zen and not as Tracer here. Izayaki felled him to start that previous fight.
You probably stay on this for another push if you're New York. I mean, there's no point to switch off of this when you have, you know, Infrasight, Valkyrie, EMP, Rocket Barrage, Pulse Bomb coming online, and you just saw them use a ton of ults.
But when will it be enough? When will NYXL be convinced they need to switch? Perhaps it's just sheer weight of ultimates they're hoping to employ here and capturing the point. A minute 32 left now as NA ascends to the high ground when the Valiant will be expecting him to be set up here. This is a pretty common spot. That's why you see Fate drop down, but there's the first casualty on the side of the Valiant. Karif is removed by Meko. Not an easy target to burst down Nazaya, but now he follows up with an EMP. It was Agilities having his abilities stripped from him, but still the Valiant are able to turn on to Meko. Libero needs to make ends meet. He has to make an impact now. The barrage will be crucial, but he can't go up with the self-destruct ticking. Now might be his time. Fly low to the ground, looking for Agilities, but the Brigitte manages to slide on out there with that shield bash.
And they only connect with Agilities with the EMPs. See Libero just trying to rain down some rockets.
He needs more.
Yeah, I mean, the barrier from Fate coming out, space. He actually used his self-destruct to get back in the mech. Killed Nene, who's playing a Widow, outside of his mech. So Nene switches over to Soldier 76, trying to get to the high ground. New York's really committed to this match. Only 40 seconds left here on the clock.
Yeah, maybe 2 committed. Jonak's Pulse Bomb there. Doesn't quite work. You saw him on the left of your screen up on the high ground. He'll again be looking to try and find a Zen. Graviton used immediately to try and catch her up. Manu, the Wrecking Ball doesn't go any further. He goes for the mines and Fate walks into it. Libero, a little bit on timing there on that barrage. He's not able to find a target. Space now being pressured back inside the bunker, and that capture progress is accruing. Transcendence now so the Valiant can actually push out and do some fighting, and they crush Dynamo. Don't give the Mercy any room to work whatsoever. 9 seconds remain, but the NYXL one by one are being cut off at the knees. No Nene on the high ground here, the Soldier 76. He has to make a huge play here, and he knows he's struggling. Now he's been spotted, forced away. Has to go for the health pack, but Jonak gets run down. And that looks textbook from the LA Valiant, shutting down the DPS-centric approach of the New York Excelsior. Very staunch, tank-focused defense. The Winston look very good for Fate. They can't complain. Map 4 is right around the corner.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blizzard Arena. 3 maps down, and the Valiant start to nose ahead in this series. I think that was an interesting learning experience for us as well, to see why teams play Winston in that triple tank, triple support setup out of fear of their opponents trying to go for like stacking damage dealing characters.
Yeah, I mean, you need the Winston to be able on defense, playing against that quad DPS to jump on, whether it's the Widowmaker, Soldier 76,
Whoever, really.
Yeah, but and just pick a target and just pressure them out, because you only have the Mercy heals available for the team with that quad DPS. Mercy would have to fly, put herself in harm's way to heal any of those, and then you get 2 kills there. Right?
So what happens if the Valiant play a Reinhardt in that triple tank, triple support? What does that look like?
So you have to really just play around Reinhardt's shield. If you're not playing around the shield, Reinhardt's just standing there, just taking.
So everyone has to play really close together, right?
Yeah, and you have to group up, and then that's where you could see like the Pharah putting down tons of
Wrecking
poke
Ball,
damage,
Tracer,
Wrecking Ball, right?
Sombra wrecking you all with an EMP.
All it takes in that situation is like 2 good rockets from a Pharah, a ground slam from a Wrecking Ball, and then Tracer coming out the back and picking up a kill or 2. This map, you won't see any of that. This map, you're just going to see Reinhardt triple tank, triple support versus Reinhardt triple tank, triple support.
So eyes on Zarya bubbles being effective, teams not taking too much damage before they engage, and those rallies to signify the beginning of fights. See that repair pack quickly thrown on Mano there. A quick trade. Lucio for Brigitte. And the Valiant seem to be comfortable enough to keep pushing on with that one. A lot of damage being taken by Mano. Libero also looking a little bit low. Meko forced to back away as well.
NYXL going to have to give up a ton of space here, because you lose your Lucio, so you lose all type of disengage with the speed boost.
And your engage, essentially, if you did want to fight. If you got, one of the enemy players down to 20%, you want to go for it, you can't.
And all Valiant has to do there to create this much space is amp up speed and go forward. And NYXL has no option to fight that. They just have to back all the way out.
I think people easily underestimate just how powerful speed boost is in a game like this when you're playing with less mobile heroes. But now, the NYXL are back, and they're definitely going to be standing their ground here on this checkpoint. Fade is absolutely looking for an air shatter, but he gets nothing for it. And then it actually looked like he was stunned around the corner. Fade's likely to be alive, though. He dropped the shield with a Discord orb on him, but around the side, Nene was taken down. That shatter was capitalized on. Meko's removed now from his mech. And there's going to be a Transcendence now, hastily again employed into this fight, but it might be a way for NYXL to come back. They're holding their ground. Kareev is knocked down. Self-destruct over the top, and Space gets at least a moment to get back inside his mech, but outside of that, the NYXL look like they can hold on, but here's a sound barrier. The counter-attack from the Valiant here. They need to get aggressive with that Lucio ult, but it looks like they've been so far away that aren't able to get to grips with the NYXL.
Oh, and I think they get Mecha low, and they want to push in with the sound barrier there, but he uses the self-destruct to get his mech back, and he gets away. They're not able to finish him off. I think it's because Space is a little bit low. Had that Discord on him, had to go to the side. As this will be the grab that comes out from NYXL. It'll be the Transcendence that comes in here for the Valiant. They're going to use the rally here too.
It looks like Mane tried to get a pin inside the Graviton, but Kuki booped him off course. And the Valiant still coming with 6. Now the Transcendence from Dronak, the NYXL, they're getting a little bit antsy. They want to end this fight and get some breathing room, but the Valiant aren't giving it to them. They're trying to choke him out. Now they're pressuring forward. Earth Shatter there. Not much from that one from Mane. It was going to be a sound barrier now for the NYXL. Nene falls. Libero trying to come forward, but Mane was knocked on his backside as well. Fate gets a repair pack behind the payload, and he gets 3 with the Earth Shatter. That's what he was looking for. Meko being desuited. Dronak just knocked away. Agilities does go over the edge, but the Valiant have enough players unsubmerged to capture the point.
So finally the Valiants are able to take it there. That fight extends pretty long as they're able to get that Graviton Surge. Kareev puts it on the wall, and then once they start to pick up some kills out of that, that's when it really starts to go in favor of the Valiant. They kind of got the hard part here out of the way. We see so many teams kind of get stopped before getting that first point. And if you're NYXL, you know how great defense is on this map. You kind of pick it here, to start off on the defensive side. You think you can build some momentum, get that, first stop. Now with 3 minutes to go for the Valiant to potentially take the second point, you start to worry a bit.
Well, look at Nene. Low, forced to drop back into his own backline after that one. And the entirety of the NYXL have to back out just because the poke or that pre-fight damage favored the Valiant so heavily. They've got both support ultimates as well, so the Valiant can afford to be aggressive. Get Kuki to propel them forward with a speed boost. Look for a chance to open up a fight. Ooh, cheeky Graviton. It catches Libero. Not enough to quite get the pick. They do get it. Nene's forced to bubble himself. Now he's going to get caught up. His bubble is burst immediately. Self-destruct over the top. Oh! Perfect timing from Mano. He sets up the combo, but it's only 2 players down from the Valiant. The Valiant still want to try and push forward, but now in the presence of the Transcendence, Los Angeles looking a bit more sheepish. Izuyaki's cut down. Mano going to be a lot of problems for space here with the hammer. Mano coming up with a quick fix at the 11th hour. Great timing on that Earth Shadow. It's still wild to me that sometimes last year they would take Mano out of the game. It's just it's such a sick shatter there. Is the self-destruct, he times it perfectly, by the way. Fate kind of I think knows that Mano has to shatter, but he has really no other option. And as soon as he flicks the shield up just a little bit, that's when the shatter comes down. Just absolutely perfect timing there out of Mano to land that. Coming in the next fight, though, Kariva's already got another grab here, Mitch. Putting down so much damage on Zarya, when you get fully charged up. I mean, he has 70% average energy on this map so far. Looking for more now. Oh, it was eaten! Again, Kariv tries to, I guess subtly flick it off to the right side, but Mecha was ready this time.
To be fair, it's the same exact thing he just tried, as the self-destruct from space goes over the top. Izuyaki drops first. This will be NYXL. They get aggressive with some ultimates. They end up taking the fight. When you're space and you see the grab go for nothing, you kind of wanted to combo the grab plus your self-destruct. At that point, you're just trying to, throw it up in the sky, see what happens, and get nothing for it.
And look, Jonak was up to the high ground. The NYXL didn't look like they were worried about that sort of haphazardly thrown self-destruct. So Jonak gets to make the most of the fact that Space was actually getting back into his mech, getting 2 kills on that Zenyatta, which couldn't be mitigated by a D.Va.
And Karivi gets the Graviton Surge up on that staircase, the fight previously. You almost can't come in and take the same exact angle, the same exact approach, and try and get the same exact grab. Yeah, Meko, way too smart. He sees it coming.
Space lingering for a potential boop off of the high ground, but in fact, it's the LA Valiant that get knocked down. This split in half. This fight could be over. They need to move quickly, and the NYXL identify that. They see stragglers, blood in the water, and they try and chase it up. Izuyaki was on an island, essentially, there. Lovely little play. The boop off the high ground. Mwah, love to see it.
And it's those little plays that allow you to save some of these ultimates, and it's so huge, especially obviously in any meta, but this meta, to be able to win fights with only investing maybe 1 ultimate, right? They end up using the rally there, I believe an Earth Shatter, but still, you hold on to some of the armor on a few of these heroes, you come back, you still have the big hitters with the Graviton Surge.
Well, it's do or die for the Valiant now. A couple less ultimates to work with here. It needs to be a picture-perfect Transcendence in response to a grab. Kariv gets caught up in that one, so does Fate, and immediately here comes the Transcendence. Mane trying to find a burst kill amongst it again. Meko's done it. He breaks through. NYXL find 2 kills. That's all they need here. And once again, the Valiant will slump in the later stages of a payload-based map, struggling to keep going in them in this series, and that might open the door for a map 5 here. NYXL bring the Valiant to a screeching halt. Wings clipped and all. And now that's their chance to take this one to a map 5. They'd be upset about the Volskaya result. They have a chance to make amends here. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's getting spicy. Say hello to Meko. One half of NYXL's really devastating, combo that allows him to get all these kills from his self-destructs. Mano being the other half, gets a lot of those, explosive teamfight winning ults from Meko. Mano's the one putting his virtual body on the line to make sure there's no shielding to prevent the fallout, as it were.
But I mean, Meko, so look, the self-destructs, obviously you have to give some credit to Mano in this, as he's landing shatters or pins. But it's also, maybe even the biggest play of that is when Meko kind of eats that grab from Kariv through the stairs there. Oh. So that is a killer, man. And Kuki at the end there, he dies with sound barrier. So we saw that on Hollywood, getting close to having the sound barrier towards the end, dies with self-destruct. That time falls in the same exact manner. You don't get to use that sound barrier towards the end.
Out the gates, the NYXL. Valiant with the Reinhardt, no Winston shenanigans here.
And to be fair, with how defensive New York plays as a team sometimes, you could hold here if you're the Valiant. I mean, you really only need like you know, a few fights to go your way, you start building up that ultimate advantage, and you're good.
Yeah, they're waiting for the sound barrier. Fate pressured very heavily. Again, remember, one use of the repair pack from agilities, that's all they really have until it goes on that cooldown. That's the only form of burst healing the Valiant have. The only form of ways to quickly erase little positioning errors that cause your frontliners to take a chunk of damage. They're going again, Matt. Speed boost. Straight into the face of the Valiant. The Valiant, this time, do not disengage. Fate gets discorded here. Great boot. Space creating exactly his namesake there for the Valiant to get him out of trouble.
Nene getting charged up, though, and they're going to be able to take out Fate. The quick discord there onto the Reinhardt. Is that what you saw there from NYXL? So they kind of like went around the corner, and they were going to try and bait that they were going to speed boost up to the high ground, because we have seen teams do that on offense. They go to the high ground, they let the Zarya pump down some damage, and then they speed boost and come right around the corner. I think they may have caught the Valiant off guard there a little bit.
Yeah, 2 speed boosts forward. Twice the Valiant failed to disengage, or at least properly. Here's the Graviton Surge. Jonak says, well, okay, I guess I better do my thing right about now. Earthshatter here. Fate charging straight in towards Libero. Mana was trying to be the balance breaker there. And the NYXL look very good in this push here. Jonak is just going to 1v1 Kareem and get the job done. NYXL over the line, looking much like Hollywood. Matt, why are the Valiant not disengaging when they see the NYXL hurtling towards them with that Lucio speed boost?
It's tough for the Valiant because they want to use that speed boost to get right back onto the point, and then you don't really have it to get on back. You're stuck in the Graviton Surge. Nothing you can really do that. And then once you lose like 1 or 2, you don't want to just start throwing ultimates here. I mean, they do end up holding on to their sound barrier. Animo, of course, for NYXL. Playing the Lucio holds on to his here. Fate has this shatter. How do you want to go about landing this? Because you're giving up some space here. So you see, you know, that gold tick at the top. That's all NYXL has to get to, that little golden box victory. They have to know Fate has a shatter here. They don't want to all kind of line up in the choke here. Let's see how they decide to play it.
Animo just doesn't want to get shattered.
Yeah, he wants to play really...
If Animo doesn't get shattered, NYXL are probably okay. Just with that, he'll be able to use the sound barrier. He won't be stuck. Oh, Fate. That's what you've got to avoid doing. Fate now needs to literally turn his back, and that's giving more space to the NYXL. Let them come forward. The Valiant get proactive now with their own sound barrier, but that gets absolutely nothing. The Earthshatter only hits a shielded Nene, and Fate dejectedly has to return back to the checkpoint and get ready for the next engagement.
And you see him there playing around that pole. He's trying to get rid of that Discord orb, but he actually gets grabbed up into the Graviton Surge here. It looks like you're just going to have a D-Mech here on the Meko that is pretty big.
Space, great job. He used all of his defense matrix there to keep Kariv alive until the Transcendence from Izayaki arrived. Izayaki had to cross the alleyway to keep that Zarya alive, and crucially, Kariv now has the damage from that previous fight to use Grav. But 3 minutes and 21 seconds is a long time for the Valiant to have to hold their ground here. You feel like eventually NYXL are going to come up with the right answer, even if it's by accident.
You'd think. I mean, one good grab, right? You
charge and really be wrecking people.
It's much better to go from 0 to 40 than, like, you know, if you want to go from 40 to 70, right?
You got it. Kariv, Graviton Surge is available from here. We see Space go a little bit low, trying to shepherd him, at least block some of the damage with his body. Graviton into the side wall here. No chance for that one to be eaten up by Meko. Earthshatter being thrown in here. Mono doesn't really find what he's looking for, but this could hurt. This could hurt. Kariv, the casualty, and Mono finds a follow-up charge onto agilities. And the NYXL, after 61% down, finally regained control. And the sound barrier in the back pocket's going to go a long way.
It's a huge amount of percentage to give up to the Valiant, but you almost have no choice. You have to give it up as the Valiant, they'll switch over to the Reinhardt version of the triple tank, triple support. Obviously no shatter opportunity here to combo with the self-destruct. Nothing to combo with Space's self-destruct. You probably hold it, unless you get like a first pick or two and then you want to get a remech to get back in the fight.
Maybe you can get your Brigitte behind the enemy Reinhardt and, you know, find a way to get a shield bash still.
Or a whip shot out of the way.
Yeah, that's also a thing.
Here
comes the self-destruct into the back. You see the Animo was knocked back. He was a little bit nervous, so he does go for the sound barrier. Look, I think for the Valiant, you're happy enough to trade that self-destruct in for a sound barrier and a rally.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a very good trade. The issue is I mean, look how far behind Kariv is in terms of grab charge to Nene. Nene is going to have another grab. You're going to have Transcendence here for NYXL.
Well, Nene has, he has a lot more average energy as well. Nene's just, I mean, it depends on how long you're alive, because when you die as Zarya, you go back to 0. So obviously the more you die, the more you get reset on that percentage. Here's the grab. Nene gets this one off pretty well, and the Valiant looking not happy with that one. Izzyaki. Ouch.
Yeah, nothing the Valiant can do there to defend that. They knew exactly. The Winston first, much harder to gain charge, you know, when you're bubbling the Winston as opposed to Reinhardt. Reinhardt, pretty straightforward. Throw the bubble on him, he puts a shield down, goes in with the hammer, builds up a ton of charge. Let's see how the Valiant decided to play this. Looks like they're going to go for the high ground, try and jump right down. Mono recognizes it, backs up around the pole.
Yeah, he was trying to listen out for them, I think, by pressing up close against that wall. Okay, disengage here for NYXL.
They're almost willing to give up the point.
Mino's
there.
calling for them to go forward. He wants to push up. He gets whip shot back there and actually kind of takes away the momentum from the NYXL. So now they have to sort of reset and have a fight on their own terms that they're looking for here.
Hitting a shatter here around the pole or the stairs is going to be really difficult as well. For
Fate
Mono.
wants to hit a safe fire strike to get his as soon as possible. Mano pushing in though. Agilities was knocked to the ground and the Transcendence wasn't enough to save him. Self-destruct over the top here. Custer gets away from that one. Definitely dodging in. Fate charges Mano out of the way. Mano was healed back up and now Fate is split off with the rest of his team, but he gets Jonak. He was in like a 1v4 situation. He still finds the enemies in Yana and gets away. He's just going for a spar on the lower levels. 97%. Sunny's got to give right now. Nene comes forward. Sound barrier for the NYXL. They need to make the difference here and now. Space, self-destruct. He got Mano. The boop was perfect. They got behind Mano and knocked him forward, but it may not be enough. The Valiant are down to 3, just 3. And New York look very strong coming into this fight. At 99% overtime, New York should be able to flip things back. Custer is run down, and around the corner, Kariv is hiding. Getting staggered here means he won't be able to return to the fight. Round number 1, New York.
So, man, Nene actually uses the grab really early there, and he gets absolutely nothing for it. New York has to feel pretty good about taking that first point. We'll have the next one coming up right after the break.
Look, I'll be real here, Matt. Fate versus the world, and that last little play there when he was on his own as Reinhardt and still found Jonak was cute, but it did cause a Valiant to be split. Not having their main tank there definitely hurt them in the ensuing fight, even if Custer managed to boot Mano into that self-destruct and get at least the 1 kill. Much more to be done now.
You see both teams coming out with the Winston version of the 3-3. As we have seen a lot more DPS heroes, no damage dealers used on this point specifically. Well,
See, both Fate and Mano were taking huge amounts of damage here.
Barely gets out.
Gets out though. Both times these two teams have been able to shepherd their main tanks away from the fighting, keep them alive. Look at this rotation here for the Valiant. It does leave their backline a little exposed as Mano could interpose himself in the middle of them. But Fate and Space taking a lot of damage again. Point is being held by the Valiant here though. They do lose Fate. Jonak playing a dangerous game there, eventually backs around the corner. Graviton Surge being thrown in here. Space, get too much done. And Mano was picked up by Custer here, but the Valiant don't have the numbers. They want to keep the point for as long as they can, but the fight is done.
Yeah, Fate tries to dive right on top of Jonak, because Jonak's playing really aggressive. Right underneath, the windmill there inside the building. And, they're not able to take Jonak out. You lose your main tank, and then you drop a grav in there, but you have the Transcendence, you have the sound barrier for NYXL to push on through. So I know at this point specifically, you can just, with the heroes that are on the map for both teams, you can extend the point and keep it contested for such a long time. You know, Winston and Diva able to just keep jumping back and forth, able to keep it in your favor. So you gotta invest some of these ultimates to try and get it back.
How that doesn't get eaten, I have no idea. Nene just sends that one in, it works, and Fate gets caught up by the self-destruct. Again, the Valiant cannot fight this fight. They cannot give ultimate percentage across to New York by lingering and overstaying their welcome. So fortunately for them, having held the point for that first fight, given that 21%, is the difference between New York being at 50 now or at 70.
But this 48% is going to jump like close to 80 here real quick. I mean, these fights are going to go for a very long time, especially you got Primal Rage. Transcendence out. Jonak wants to fight this pretty close to the rest of the team.
Fate just trying to play in the backside here, but he's been spotted out by Nene. You can't really hang around for too long. Primal Rage from Mano, but it doesn't keep him alive. Space! Looks like Animo and Mano are blasting off again. And the Valiant retake control, not a moment too soon now. Izayaki being close to the Transcendence is a good omen for the Valiant, but that's about it. But they're really coming up on the cusp of course, Fate's Primal Rage conditionally can be impactful as well.
And in this series thus far, we've seen Meko with 23 self-destruct kills. Those two for Space will bump him up to 8. Huge disparity, but I think that's just NYXL playing around that self-destruct, using the shatters properly around it, using the boops and other ways to help Meko get these kills. Custa dies first, that's bad.
That cannot happen. Fate was able to avoid death by jumping out of the well, but he was too low. Izayaki commits the Transcendence when it shouldn't have been used. The Discord Augment, Fate just got blown up far too quickly. And that support ult that I said that I was sitting on that was supposed to be a good omen, now is gone.
Custa does get back into the fight here. He's just trying to go around, extend time, trying to get a boop off.
Gets him even.
Yep. And flip the point back. You can play pretty close here for your NYXL. You do have your own Graviton Surge. You do lose a lot of, the damage that the Reinhardt would have given you, switching over to Winston. But both teams going to be running the Winston here.
Space has to eat this grab. Without support ultimates, the Valiant lose the fight essentially instantly if any sort of decent grab is used by Nene. New York have 2 support ultimates. It's going to be so hard for the Valiant here. They must make a difference. Okay, there's the grab from both sides here. Mino with the first one to fall down here. Fate traded out. Both teams missing their main tanks. But it's 96%. The Valiant, despite missing their bastion of durability, still have to come forward. In a 5v5, this self-destruct could make a huge difference. Space tries to run away. Izayaki falls. A key piece for the Valiant goes missing. And now the bridge starts to crumble in overtime. Scant few members left on the point. Custer trying to keep the dream alive. He has a sound barrier if he can stay alive long enough, but he's forced off the point. Sound barrier, he can't use it. And a grueling fight, map affair. We'll see the NYXL once again rise to the top. God, Matt, that's tough for the Valiant. That's another map 5 in a row for them that they've fallen out of in the final map.
We're really early in the season here, but these are the type of losses you look back at end of the year, and if you're like 1 or 2 games out of the playoffs, it's even more crushing. You take a team like, you don't really have a great opportunity to win a lot of games against teams like NYXL. NYXL, they run through the league last year, right? One loss a stage pretty much. You have an opportunity to get a big win on the board that a lot of other teams won't get. That's a huge loss for the Valiant.
A series here where, New York tried to show a little bit of variety. They tried to come out with a heavy damage dealer composition. It just flat out didn't work. The Volskaya offering was very average, but they really come back here towards the end. I have to say, over the course of this series, the way that they've set up Meko for success has been superb. Their focus is definitely being rewarded. And now we're going to head down to the floor with Danny and a very special Zenyatta player.
Thank you guys so much. What is up, everybody? I am here with Jonak from NYXL. Jonak, congratulations on the win. Now, you guys are on a winning streak. 3 wins, 0 losses. What sets NYXL apart from the rest of the Overwatch League teams? 자, 이번이 세 번째 우승을 하게 되는데 뉴욕 팀이 조나 선수가 보셨을 때는 뉴욕 팀이 좀 다른 점이 있다면, 다른 팀들과 다른 점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
우리 팀이 좀 다른 팀이랑 다른 점은 만호 형이 훨씬 잘하는 것 같아요. 다른 라인보다.
So what sets us apart? I feel like Mono is better than any other Reinhardt users in the Overwatch League teams. Interesting. All right. Well, another thing is, there's been a lot of talk about who the best Zen user is in the league. And Jonak, as a Zen player and a former MVP of the inaugural season of Overwatch League, do you see yourself as the best Zenyatta player? 자, 질문 이해하셨나요? So, 그러니까 쉽게 말씀드리면은 지금 아직까지도 정욱 선수가 최고의 젠야타 유저라고 생각하십니까?
당연합니다.
Of course, I am the best. All right, thank you. That's all I have. Give it up for Jonak, everybody. Back to you guys, casters.
That seems pretty straightforward. I'd have to definitely...
Not many people can argue with
Both
that,
points
yeah.
are something I find it very easy to agree with. I think that the first point as well, Mano looked excellent. Not only when we're talking about setting up for, for Meko and really enabling him to get these incredible self-destructs, but also just in the head-to-head, the shatters were excellent. He was patient. He didn't look like he was forced out of position too often either.
Yeah, and the thing with Mono is I feel like he was obviously one of the stronger main tanks last year. We can take a look at some of the highlights from the series, but he's not like a flashy player, right?
Nope.
Like, and I think with how great Jonak is, and then some of the other players on this roster, like Meko and Savioldi, and now we get Nene in there, Pine, Flower. It's like Mono's greatness just kind of gets lost in the fact of like how great everybody is on this team. Where, he is so... There's so many main tanks in the league who are great at one hero, great at another hero, whatnot. Mono's fantastic at all the tanks. He can play Reinhardt at an extremely high level. He can play an aggressive Winston. He can play a passive Winston. I feel like he is such an underappreciated player of sorts in the league. It's cool to see Jonak give him the shout on stage, but more people got to pay attention to Mono, man.
Yeah, it's a big reason for the success of the NYXL is that the emphasis isn't on the same players as it is for a lot of other teams. We talked obviously about Jonak being a player that they invested in heavily in-game. They put a lot of their economy, their healing, their damage. We've seen it to him. We've seen Meko now receiving that same attention with how impactful self-destruct is. New York are playing very well around it. I have to say, we talk about Fate and Mano in the head-to-head matchup. I'm happy with Fate. I definitely think he was challenged. I don't know if the Valiant really have the same structures for enabling their D.Va player space to get big bombs like that, but this fight was one of my favorites. It went for a long time. I love a bit of overtime action, but also both these teams just pulling out all the stops for us there.
Yeah, and then Ilios, coming back to control where the Valiant were so good in our map #1, they end up taking that control. This one wasn't pretty. It was really rough, and I think this loss almost comes right out of the Rialto loss. Like when you lost Rialto, you kind of lost this in a way. Like your team was just deflated. You were so close to the win, and then it's hard. We have those quick turnarounds, right? Where I play that next match, it's tough to get your mind back in the game, and I think it was a really tough one there on Ilios that didn't go in favor of the Valiant.
Worth noting that Mano preferred not to play Winston when he could, but then when he brought it to bear on Ilios, it was very successful. Yes. But the player of the match, should I say, was not Mano, it was his offsider, Meko. I mean, he was set up to succeed, but the placement of a lot of these self-destructs, even unassisted, was very impressive.
Here's our Omen by HP player of the match. So you see just the perfect placement of these self-destructs, and when you see these self-destructs, you also have to give a shout to Mono. Obviously, you see the shatters here, setting them up perfectly and whatnot. Also, you needed, the thing about how good the Valiant were today in a loss, you needed 20+ self-destruct kills to get a win for NYXL.
In a map 5.
In a map 5. Like the Valiant, you obviously lose this series, it's really tough, but you have to look like they needed to use every self-destruct perfectly just to get out with a win here, and I think it's also a testament to how good NYXL is as a team, right? They're able to, you set these plays up every single time and execute them.
And it's clear to see the focus is different for the Valiant. They just don't put that much emphasis on setting up those self-destruct kills. They still get a good job done. I'm very happy to see the progression of both of these teams. Yeah. We hadn't seen enough, I feel like, from NYXL in the first week or so of play. Now has changed up a little bit. It's good to see a couple more faces of them